Getting discovery calls right is the difference between getting a ton of inquiries and a ton of actual bookings. You need to find a blueprint that works for you so that you can go into every client call feeling confident and not anxious every single time, because clients can see anxiety from a mile away. If you can figure out what to say, when to say it, and come up with an answer for every possible question that a client might ask so that you can just roll off the tongue and answer them with confidence, people will be booking you more times than not. These calls are there to convince clients that you are the photographer for them over all the other photographers that they're going to talk to, but it's also an opportunity for you to make sure that the client is right for you too. It gives you a chance to spot red flags and say no to a client if you want to, if you're in the position to say no. I like to keep my client calls pretty short and sweet, so about 10 to 15 minutes. And what I'm going to do today is run through each talking point that I have written down in front of me on a notepad every single time that I have a call. So without further ado, let's get into how I start the call. Now I start the call with 5 minutes of small talk, much like a hairdresser might do. It's always good to break the ice with a little bit of small talk. You might want to find something that you guys have in common, just so you can get that friendly feeling going right from the offset and make them feel comfortable with you. That's the reason that on my contact questionnaire on my website, I have the box called Tell Me a Little Bit About Yourself. That way I can immediately lead them into something that they enjoy talking about, something that they like doing, so that I'm already building a bit of rapport with the client, a little bit of trust right from the offset. If you're a bit of an introvert like me and maybe a little bit anxious when you're going into a call and talking to people for the first time, trying to strike up natural conversation, it doesn't always come naturally to people. So something that I find that's really helpful is doing a square breathing exercise on YouTube just before I go into a call. So I'll often bring up a guided video on YouTube to do some square breathing. So if you don't know what that is, it's breathing in for 4 seconds, holding your breath for 4 seconds, breathing out for 4 seconds, and then repeating. I always find this helps calm me just before a client call and makes me a little bit more confident when I'm talking to them. So if you do get anxious before a call, I would always recommend doing a guided square breathing exercise on YouTube beforehand. Now, the next bullet point I have is the purpose of today's call, and that's basically running through your client what exactly it is you're going to go through on the call, setting out expectations from the get-go. So all I'll say to them is the purpose of today's call, guys, is to meet each other face to face, put a face to a name. I will then go through exactly how it is that I work and then my deliverables as well, so what exactly you'll get on the day. Then I'll give you a chance to ask any questions towards the end, or if you have any questions that prop up throughout the call, just let me know. Moving on quickly from that, the next part is, what do you like about my work? So with my work, generally 95% of the time, the client's answer is, we love how natural your photos come across. By asking this question, you are giving yourself a natural segue into talking about photography, but also talking about exactly what the client loves to see. So already 5 minutes into the call, you have developed a rapport with the clients. You have made yourself seem like a friendly face that you can talk to by talking about something that they themselves love. You've set out your expectations about the call clearly, and you've also gone into what they love about photography. So then, using that natural segue, let's take the example that I've just given you. They love the way that I take natural photos. I'll then talk about how it is exactly that I do that. So what I like to say to people is, I really like to get stuck in with guests. I don't like to be one of those photographers who likes to hide in a background or hide in a bush and take photos from afar. I really like to interact with guests, get stuck in, and make myself seem like one of the guests themselves so that people find themselves feeling a bit more comfortable around me. That way I find that I can get much more candid photos, much more natural photos that seem genuine, instead of people spotting me from a mile away and feeling a little bit awkward around me in the camera. I find that when I say this, people really love that approach. They like the fact that someone is going to be chatting with their guests and be really friendly with them and put them at ease. But as you implement these bullet points more and more within your calls, you'll get to know exactly what it is that people love about your work. That's also just a really good thing to know in general, what it is that has stood out about your work to potential clients. I'll also build on whatever they said. So for example, if they say they like natural photos, I will build into that how I do the couple shoot. So I will do the whole interacting with guests spiel, and then I'll go into how I do the couple shoot. So I'll say I do my couple shoots in 10 to 15 minute segments, and I'll do 2 sessions. So one 10-minute session straight after the ceremony, and then one 10 to 15-minute session at golden hour when the sun is setting. I'll put no pressure on them during the couple shoot. It'll be more of an opportunity for you to spend some time alone and have a chat about the day, enjoy each other's company, because a wedding day is a lot of social pressure. There's a lot of people that you know that you're kind of talking to throughout the day. And for a lot of people, that's great. But for a lot of other people, and I know it'll be like this for me on my wedding day, my social battery is going to drain very fast, and a lot of my clients do too. So with the couple shoot, they always find that they enjoy having the 5 to 10 minute downtime. So it's nice to tell them about that on your discovery call as well. It's something that they might not have even thought of. They might have been dreading the couple shoot, dreading being in front of the camera, just the two of them. But if you can shift that mindset from being scared to thinking, oh, okay, this isn't going to be so bad. He's just explained how it's going to be time for just us two. He's not going to be pressuring us into posing. You're again reinforcing the value that you're going to give them as a photographer, and just increasing the likelihood of them thinking, okay, this guy's for me. I really like how he's taken this approach. Again, this is for me as a natural wedding photographer. If you are not a natural photographer, if you like posing people a lot, you're going to have this same blueprint for a call, but you're going to have to think of other points. So instead of saying that you like to give them time to themselves and you're not going to push them into too many poses or anything, if your couple likes being posed, you might want to say something more like, I've had years of experience in posing people, and posing people who aren't actually used to posing. So most of my clients aren't models, but I know how to get the most out of our time on the couple shoot and pose you in a way where you won't feel too awkward. Moving on from the what do you like about my work question is my deliverables. So I've actually got my bullet point as deliverables and then sub bullet points for each deliverable that I'm going to give them. And by deliverable, I just mean exactly what it is that they're going to get after the day. So in my sub bullet points, I've got 20 to 30 previews up to 72 hours after the day, because that's something I promised to every single couple. And I'll basically describe what that is. I'll tell them that they'll receive around 20 to 30 images up to 3 days after the wedding that they can use for social media to announce their wedding, or use as thank you cards, or even print off straight away. They always love to hear that they'll get photos within 3 days. I feel like a lot of people are surprised by that fact, that they'll see photos within that amount of time. I know it's quite common for a lot of photographers now to do photo previews within 24 to 72 hours, but it's always nice to remind them exactly what they're going to get. I'll also remind them that they have a full license to print and share photos as they wish. Copyright will remain with me, but they still have license to print and share. So if they don't want to purchase prints through my own website, that's absolutely fine. They can take it wherever else they like. I'm very honest about pricing on my website and how my prints are more expensive than an average high street retailer, but I'll also go on to explain that that's because of the convenience factor of printing straight through their gallery, and also the quality of my prints are probably better than most high street retailers. Then I'll go on to say that the full gallery is delivered in 6 to 8 weeks. That's my typical delivery time. So after their previews are sent, they'll have a link to their gallery, and their gallery will be updated within around 6 to 8 weeks with the full gallery. Lastly, I mentioned that drone photography is included regardless of price. I don't actually tell them that on my website because it's always a nice icing on the cake addition that nobody is expecting. I feel like drone photography is often included at extra cost, whereas I just love to bring my drone along and fly it for 5 to 10 minutes and get some aerial shots. I feel like clients are really impressed by that, and the fact that I include it for free and don't mention it anywhere else, they always love to hear that at the end of the call. I always get a really positive, surprised reaction when I tell them that drone photography is going to be included. So they come away from the call as that being the last point that I give them, knowing that they're going to get all those things and hopefully feeling positive about the whole experience. At this point, what I'll do is ask them if they've got any questions for me. Most of the time I feel like they don't have questions, but they might have come prepared with a few. Most of the time, the question is, what's the next steps? How do we book? I'll always go into that after questions anyway, but if they do ask that, that's always a good sign, I suppose, because they want to hear what it is they need to do next to get you booked in. But other common questions I get are there any hidden costs, like travel, or do we have to buy photos from the gallery? To that last question, of course, the answer is no, you don't have to buy photos from the gallery. All of my pricing is clear cut on my pricing guide. There is no hidden cost, there's no VAT or anything like that. All downloads are unlimited, and the galleries are kept online for 18 months, so a year and a half. And travel is always included if it's within England or Wales, because I'm based in England. So I'm happy to travel. I've factored it into my cost. If it's further afield, like Scotland, Ireland, or the rest of Europe or international, then more costs are added on. But again, that will be quoted in the pricing guide when they inquire in the first place. So finally is next steps. So how do they book in? I'll go through that process. I have my CRM, my client relationship manager, set up so that it is very easy for someone to get booked in. I use Studio Ninja. So if you don't have a CRM and you are just getting into wedding photography, or you're already deep into wedding photography and you don't have a CRM, I would highly recommend to do this. Otherwise you're just using spreadsheets and forgetting to send invoices. CRMs are so useful. So if you do need one, I would highly recommend Studio Ninja. There is a discount code in the description below. So exactly what I say to them is the following. So I'm going to send you a link to your client portal, and what that has on it is a link to a questionnaire. Just ignore that for now. We'll fill that out shortly before the wedding, and I'll send you email reminders to fill it out. And also, this won't be the last call we'll have. We'll also have a catch-up call around a month before the wedding, where you will have already filled out the questionnaire, and we'll go over all the answers to it then. But for now, completely ignore it. The two things you need to pay attention to is the contract. So just have a read through the contract. Super basic contract, just there to protect both me and you. But if there are any clauses that you have any questions about, just let me know. And there's also the pick and choose quote. So what that is you will pick and choose your package and any add-ons. And once you have decided on your package and add-ons, just click accept at the button at the bottom, and an invoice will be generated automatically for you. So the invoice will be for £500, which is the non-refundable deposit. And once you have paid that and signed the contract, I will be booked in to the diary. And what that means is I won't consider anyone else's inquiry for the day, and I will be booked in officially. And that is that. It is around a 10 to 15 minute call. As I said, I like to keep it short and sweet. I've heard of photographers doing like 1 to 2 hour calls, which is really respectable, because if you're talking to someone for 1 to 2 hours, surely they're going to book you. But a lot of the time they don't. So it's a lot of wasted admin time. If you can spend 20 minutes tops talking to someone, making yourself seem relatable and clear and giving very clear expectations, more times than not, they're bound to book you. I find a lot of the time when I ask for feedback when someone hasn't booked me, it comes down to price. But with where I'm positioned with pricing, I'm not looking for people who are on a tight budget for photography. I'm just looking for people who love my work and can almost overlook costs. That's the point of where I'm getting to at the moment with my pricing. So if they're not able to afford my services, then we're probably not right for each other anyway, and that's fine. There's not going to be a photographer that works for everyone, and there's not going to be a client that works for everyone. This whole call is to figure out if you're right for each other. So moving forward, just write all these bullet points down, have them in front of you during the call so that you can refer back to them and you remember what you're going to be saying and covering. And if at first it doesn't work, I promise you over time it will work. Just keep practicing it, and like I said at the beginning of the video, it becomes almost like a script. You won't have to look at the list anymore, and you'll have an answer to almost every question that a client can ask you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, please do leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you did enjoy this video, you might like to see how I work on a wedding day itself. So just click the video up on screen now to see a full day behind the scenes of me on a wedding that I shot recently. As always, I will see you guys in the next one.